Lucius, Chris, how's it going, guys? Bullseye, how's it going? Um, Gil, Bug, how's it going, guys? Caps? E? Oh, yo, as in cat. So who has the worst life, Lumion or Spider-Man? Why does it always start with a penis? Doesn't life? Let me pose you a philosophical question. Are you burnt? How do you like Lumion so far? I like him. I like him. He's good. His personality type's like very different from Klein, which I appreciate. He keeps it a little bit more light so far, anyway. But I also know that, having come to realize that his whole life was a fucking lie for the past couple weeks or whatever, and his sister died, and he's being hunted by the major churches, a lot of stuff. So I'm sure he's probably gonna get a little bit more serious than I would like, but I mean, I hope he retains some, parts of his happiness, loose personality and stuff. Among, how's it going, man? Long time no see. We save the city, true. Rugby. Yay! You like Volume 1? I certainly did, Hamong. I certainly did. And no one important died. Just a roar. Hold on. I gotta turn on my fucking here. She dead, Bullseye. She dead. Physically, she's dead. You wanna talk to me about some spiritual bullshit? At that point, no one dies because it's like maybe like our souls survive and heaven. You're dead. And besides, this is Lord of the Mysteries verse. You think anyone gets a happy ending? Fuck no. Or Lumion be an exception. Pipe cleaner. Fancy. Star. Lead. No. Star. Lead. Hero. Like main cast or whatever. Hopes for Volume 2. Getting to meet some more of the Tarot Club members. Again, I would prefer them, and I'm sure the way it happens happen to appear on 1 or 2, so to have books. It might be my last one, but oh shit, Faded, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. No worries at all. I appreciate you popping by. Well, Kami, partially it was. Dara is streaming in like half an hour, so I don't want to overlap a shit ton. And secondly, my throat's kind of a little, like I have a little tickle in the back of my throat, so I don't want to talk too much, because if it gets worse, then I stream on the weekend. So it's better to keep it a little low-key today, maybe tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling. But be okay enough to stream. But if I, you know, go like 9 chapters today, maybe I wake up and I can't fucking talk tomorrow, and then yeah, okay. Security principal? Bullseye, you nothing. I'm trying to be a better person, Bullseye. What a Are you streaming on Saturday? Yeah. Any reason why not? Daydream, illusion, fantasy. Yeah, Kami, I know. I'm basing these 5 chapters based on what Luvian sent. You guys see anything else that feels like this? Pom-pom? Fantasy, daydream, illusion. Butterfly? Oh, this is so good. Can it be a night stream? We'll be busy in the afternoon, morning. You mean on Saturday, Chris? Pipe cleaner, worker, jobs. I can see. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'd be okay with that. I could have the date. I could have this day to myself. That might not be a bad thing. Or Easy and I could do the talk on Saturday morning. That could also work. Is Easy even still alive? He messaged me today, so I think so. Yeah, Chris, no, that should be fine with me. I wouldn't really have any issues. That should be fine. Yeah, no worries, man. You're always there. I appreciate you. You know, small adjustment like that. I don't really. Illusion, pom-pom, belt, pipe cleaner, security, worker. Daydream fancy. Oh, it was fancy. Fuck. Oh, it was fancy. Thought it was. Badge. Components of an arts and crafts social, but okay, cute. Lexicon. It's not loading. Stream. Not dropping any frames on stream, but I can't load a fucking. I'm streaming in 1080p. A fucking website is loading for. This is a fucking joke. Oh my god, you're so cringe. Fine, we're playing chess, I guess. Which one do I like better? I'm not gonna lie, it's Lord of the Mysteries. I feel like there were so many more characters in Lord of the Mysteries Volume 1 that I was like so attached to. Like even now, old Neil, I still feel sad for him. Like, fuck, dude. The, like, Lumien's friend that drowned, I'm like, fucking loser. I should have learned how to swim. Get rolled. Yeah, I know he didn't. Yeah, I know that's not how he drowned, but yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not as emotionally vested. I don't know. Dunn, of course. You know, Miss Daly, like, Madam Daly, rather. So yeah, I still think Lord of the Mysteries for me. Hard agree. Thank you. 2x more chapters. That's also fair. If this motherfucker goes here, I'm not... I know there's a way to deal with that. I just don't know what it is, and I hate it. Yes, be sure to thank Sal for that if he pops in, bug. That was so fucking dumb. That can be taken two different ways. Midway through, he said we're so... Dude, oh my god, it's so bad. Plus, the thing is, coming at the start, I would assume, like with most people, you have like difficulty even remembering like how pieces move. Not like, oh, I just don't know it, but like, you know, you gotta... Oh, you didn't... But like... knowing it, you know what I mean? Attacking. Then I can bring this over, attack here as well, and then go here. No, it was full on random. Okay, that's wild. Why the Okay. Here. Sound like fucking Hikaru without any of the skill. Lovely. Dear Killer, how's it going, man? How you doing? What did you have for dinner? You're having 5 burgers? Good for you. Just but 5. A crazy number. I just had pasta today. Where did you 5? Whoa, he did, dude, I don't know. I actually hallucinated that. I swear I read I'm having 5 burgers. What? Dude, I actually hallucinated that. What do you mean? This, but get it. Not there. I think. I mean, maybe I thought of 5 Guys. I don't know. That was so nuts. What? I swear I read I'm having 5 burgers. I'm not on crack. What? That's crazy. No. I'm going insane. Doink. I go here. Well, let's very. Here. Hope he doesn't move. Good, but we move some there so that. Wow, you a bitch, bro. Yoink. Get the fuck, get move! God. I don't know. I mean, depending on the size of burgers, yeah, 5 sliders. That's what I was thinking. Get like 5 sliders is easy work. 5 burgers? Nice ads. Oh, you mean? I hope you mean this one, because other than that, I don't have ads on. This is not monetized. If nothing else, this motherfucker is running on low as shit on time. He's actually draining my time away. What the fuck is wrong? Fucking dickhead. Here, this thing here. Queen has to take. Escape square. Jason here. Definitely want. Distance. Bitch. That's what. This. Hitting him in this tree. Oh, it's not. No way he moved up, right? Oh my god, this guy sucks. Why can't you just do what I want? I want to win. Fuck you. Goddamn time. Alright. Here. Yay! Taking the knight would win. But no, hey there, if I took the knight, then I would. No, I couldn't have taken the knight, because then I would have lost that trade, I think. Two. So here, if I take this, he takes this. I have to take, and then I take, and then I'm down 2 points because he got a rook for a knight, which is 2 lost points. What's the alternative? Knight checks queen and king? Oh, you're saying this, 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 this. But even then I lose, no? Like, goes here, which logically fucking sense. Yeah, but okay, so you're saying here, he takes, I take, he takes, I take, and now we're even. Go here and do something like this, but we're still even. Is this better? 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 5, but his are like we end up in the same place. But hey, good school of thought. I didn't see the knight one, so that's cool. Money, how's it going, man? All right. Where are we? Chap. I was thinking something. Yeah, all good. Thorium. Alright, now that Dara's about to start reading in 20 fucking minutes, let's get this bid started. I opened the wrong thing. Lovely. I started up the mysteries, like old habits. Wait, what chapter? 110. So he is now going to thing, right? Trier? Where we're going? Renner. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. Bible, Genesis 3. The imposing grayish-white city wall, rising to a height of 3 meters, loomed before Lumion, stretching as far as the eye could see. A multitude of private carriages, 4-seaters, open tops, tandems, and cargo carriers queued, awaiting an entry through the city gate. Blue uniformed tax collectors and white-shirted, black-vested police officers inspected each carriage methodically. Occasionally, they would demand identification or order pedestrians to open their suitcases. Lumion, clutching his brown suitcase, scanned the scene, casting furtive glances as though he sought a way to bypass the checkpoint. Before long, a man who had been observing his behavior approached. "What's wrong, my friend? You look rather uneasy," the man said. He was somewhat shorter than Lumion, but twice as broad. As he neared Lumion, Lumion caught a whiff of sweat mingled with cheap cologne, prompting him to wrinkle his nose in distaste. Lumion gestured at the gate, puzzled. What's all this for? Are they searching for criminals? Why are they screening those that enter Trier, but not the ones leaving? The man appraised Lumion. "My friend, are you from some small city or village?" "They're collecting taxes. Tariffs." "Tariffs for entering Trier?" Lumion asked. "Exactly. The city wall encircles Trier. There are 54 gates, each manned by tax collectors and police. They also apprehend wanted criminals." "Are all goods taxed?" Lumion asked. The man touched his shirt and replied, "Almost everything. Only grains and flour are exempt." "Oh, plague, yes, I do need to read those. Yes, I do also need to read those. Once upon a time, they were, but after the war a few years back, the price of bread in Trier skyrocketed, inciting riots and protests. Eventually, the government abolished tariffs on all food. Ah, if only drinkers were quite as bold. Liquor, wine, and champagne are taxed the most. Most people venture to the suburbs on weekends and drink tax-free alcohol at small taverns. They call it town hopping. God. Please don't let me get sick again. Interesting, Lumion thought. The man glanced around and lowered his voice. If you want to avoid the tariffs, I can help you get into the city. You just owe me a small fee. You mean bribe them? Lumion gestured. Their greed is greater than an elephant's appetite, the man snorted. I'll show you a path into the city without checkpoints. But I thought you said Trier is surrounded by walls, Lumion asked. The man grinned. You'll see soon enough. Noble sir, do you require my assistance? How much will it cost? Lumion thought. 3 Verl d'Or, the man replied. If you agree, we can depart immediately. You can pay once we're inside the city. Deal, Lumion said, adjusting his wide-brimmed hat, picking up his suitcase, and following the rotund man around the city gates. 15 minutes later, they arrived at a hill blanketed in vegetation and soil, with grayish-white stones peeking through. Scaffolding, decayed pillowwood, and numerous pits were scattered about. It appeared to be an abandoned mine. The man guided Lumion through heaps of jumbled rocks to the entrance of the mine. Is this a shortcut? Lumion asked. The man just chuckled. You really know nothing about Trier, do you? Ever heard the saying that underground Trier is even larger than Trier above ground? No, Lumion shook his head. The man elucidated. Trier used to be much smaller, surrounded by quarries that supplied stone for building the city. As the population swelled, the city had to expand outward, enveloping these quarries. As a result, the ground became riddled with holes and tunnels. Add to that a portion of Trier that sank underground in the Fourth Epoch, plus the sewers, subways, gas pipelines installed by the government. Aren't these more extensive than what's on the surface? Lumion's eyes widened in understanding. Are you taking me into the city through underground? Exactly. The man turned around and said. He then casually asked, what should I call you? CL, Lumion said. And you? Just call me Ramius. Ramius? Ramius? The burly man rummaged through a pile of stone in the mine's corner and unearthed a iron-black lantern. Clearly made of metal, the rusted lantern was cylindrical, with the upper section being slightly narrower than the bottom. At the junction of the narrow and wide cylinders, a polished trumpet-shaped metal piece was embedded, though a few rust spots remained. Ramius's... Holy fuck, this is such a dog shit name. Ramius's produced a matchbox, fiddled with it briefly, and an orange light tinged with blue erupted in the metal trumpet. What's this? Lumion asked. Carbide lamp, the man said. Invented by the Cave Association. Many miners use it. I don't know why it glows, but I just need to put some rocks and water in it. Attach them at the bottom and top, and when needed, press here to ignite the mouth with flames. Carbide and water react to form acetylene? Dude, my chemistry was shit. Okay, fuck you. Acetylene, which burns and emits light. Lumion briefly recalled the chemistry he had studied a few months prior. He remained silent for a time and followed Ramius's underground along a disused mine tunnel. He then inquired, the Cave Association? The Trier Cave Association, the man said, formed by a group of spelunking enthusiasts. Nowadays, they seem to be involved with the mines. Why don't you take the steam locomotive into Trier, the man asked. The train station checkpoints aren't that strict. They just do spot checks. Lumion reminisced and said, I wanted to experience the last vestiges of romance from the classical era. A career carriage, the man chortled. That's far pricier than the steam locomotive. Your accent gives you away as from the Ream or the Ristone region. The journey from the South Trier runs about 120 Vraldor, doesn't it? And it takes about 4.5 days. On a steam locomotive, you'd have paid 50 Vraldor for a third class and arrived in under 20 hours. So the last bit of the classical era, you say? Sounds more like a con job for folks like you. You must have shelled out a pretty penny. Lumion responded candidly, a fair amount. I've only got 267 Vraldor left. Ramus glanced at him once more and averted his eyes. What a waste. Why the fuck would he tell him? How is he this dumb? No, Lumion's not this dumb, okay? No, we have to have some faith. There's no fucking chance. He's asking to get robbed, right? Bro, you're in an unknown place in a fucking mine where no one else is. This man could just turn around and stab you. Yeah, he's a hunter, I know, but like, he's only a sequence... Oh no, I guess he's a sequence 8 now. But even still, like if 4 people jump him, he's still gonna have one bitch of a time. Assuming they're all built like this fucking guy. Clutching the carbide lamp, he traversed an archway and veered into another passage, bathed in orange-yellow glow cast by the lamp's flame. Lumion glanced up and noticed rocks nestled in a darkness overhead, adorned with moss. The path underfoot was pockmarked with holes, and stone pillars flanked both sides, supporting the cave's ceiling. Stone and various objects were heaped between the pillars, creating a street wide enough for 5 or 6 people. Hey Max, how's it going, man? There's a street. Under the carbide lamp's illumination, a steel nameplate affixed to the stone pillar came into view. Rue Adois? Draw? Drew? Fuck me, dude. I fucking hate this language. This is actually dog shit. There's a street name down here, Lumion asked. Didn't I tell you? This is Underground Trier, the man said. In fact, it was constructed decades ago during the city's renovations. The brass deemed the underground too chaotic, a veritable labyrinth. Rioters, murderers, smugglers, and cultists all found refuge here, and something had to be done. Additionally, numerous houses had crumbled. Street on the right. God. Additionally, numerous houses had crumbled and sunk due to underground quarries. Reinforcement was needed, so City Hall spent nearly a decade repairing pillars and constructing foundations. To prevent workers from getting lost underground, the underground streets were named to correspond with those above during the renovation roads. Squares and the alley were created down here, and nameplates were hung, marking the streets. In other words, the real street to the right is just above us, Lumion asked. Exactly, the man said. This is Underground Trier. There's a small anti-smuggling wall up ahead. Query police often patrol the area, but don't fret, I'll guide you through a small tunnel. The brass and their phony collars and lies believe they can manage Underground Trier like they do above, but they only know half of what exists down here. As he spoke, he led Lumion to a dead end and located a small crevice to crawl through. 2 or 3 minutes later, they emerged from the small tunnel. Before them stood a wall composed of stone pillars and a street wedged in between. And then a burly figure emerged from the stone pillar holding a carbide lamp and addressed Ramus. I fucking hate this name. Oh my fucking god. Is this our customer? Ramus spun around and grinned at Lumion. Foreigner, I've changed my mind. The price is 265 Vraldor. Wasn't I generous to leave you enough for bread in a hotel tonight? And what if I refuse? Lumion's face displaying a mix of fear and defiance. Ramus's chubby face quivered with laughter. What do you think will happen? Didn't your mother warn you not to trust strangers too easily when you're away from home? He and the burly man closed in on Lumion from opposite directions. Lumion smiled, put down his suitcase, and advanced to Ramus and his accomplice. In the flickering firelight, over 10 seconds swiftly ticked by, and the lamp ended up in Lumion's possession. Lumion crouched down beside the trembling Ramus's, his face battered and swollen. and pulled out the banknotes from his wallet. In the dim orange and blue light, he counted them with grave intent. Gently patting Remus's right cheek with a wad of cash, Lumion grinned. Now there's 319. With that, he pocketed the banknotes and strolled to a path that appeared to lead up to the surface. A nameplate dangled from a stone pillar, inscribed with 2 lines. Rue de Pot de Chambre? Chamber? The fuck? I fucking hate this shit, dude. La Marche de Quartier de Gentlemen. What in the actual... This is like actually the most dog shit French I've ever seen. This is cancerously bad. Someone had scratched out the first name with a stone and scrawled a new name. Rue Anarchy. The Street of Anarchy? Or Anarchy Street, basically? Is literally chamber pot the old toilet you had a room? Yeah. I fucking hope so. Oh my god, that is so cringe. Clutching the carbide lamp, Lumion climbed the stone steps. Soon, light appeared ahead, accompanied by a cacophony of noise, emerging from the silent underground, as if the entire world had sprung to life. Plague, we'll do it after the chapters, no? We'll read. There's only 5 chapters today. Well, 6, I guess, but... They're a lot, are they? Okay, we'll see, Soon, the light emerged ahead, accompanied by a cacophony of noise emerging from the silent underground. It felt as if the entire world had sprung to life. Lumion quickened his pace and twisting the valve on the carbide lamp with his right hand, stopping the water droplets from dripping onto the carbide pillow below. As the acetylene gas burned out, the flame in the metal mouth gradually faded. Just then he caught a glimpse of the scene outside. Tall and low buildings appeared to have solidified at the moment of collapse, either tilting or on the verge of tumbling down, but standing stubbornly. Excuse me? What the does this place look like? Pedestrians wore old or tattered clothing, and arguments and curses filled the air. At the underground exit, Lumion spotted a 5-story building called Auberge de Côte d'Or. The two, I've just given up and trying to pronounce it in a somewhat decent fucking accent. Just fuck it. At this point, we're gonna speak like Aujourd'hui, j'ai regardé. Like, this is where we're at now. Just fuck it. I do not care anymore. Golden Rooster Inn. Thank you, Kami. The 2 top floors of the brownish building seemed like later additions, contrasting with the Roselle era pillar walls, arches, large windows, and patterns on the lower floors. It looked so simplistic. It could have been transplanted from Cordoue. Dumbass. Bug, I think you probably saw... that would mean cock, but not as in like what you're thinking, but a rooster. Anyone is curious? Kami is not lying, in fact. The male of birds, not the other one. Like, although I do love in Bug's translation, it literally means golden cocking. That's so much better. Lugging his suitcase and lamp, Lumion navigated through the children scavenging for orange peels and quarreling adults as he reached the entrance of the inn. He glanced at the hotel floor littered with yellow phlegm, shredded paper, and spilled ketchup and alcohol stains. Occasionally, a horde of bedbugs would congregate on the ceiling and walls. Had his hands been free, Lumion would have applauded the scene. He found a route devoid of filth and headed to the front desk at a moderate pace. A plump middle-aged woman sat there, her grayish-white dress stained with oil and her brown hair tied in a simple bun. She looked up at Lumion with her blue eyes, unfazed. This is the best and cheapest inn on Rue Anarchy in the market area, but the owner's a miser who can't bear to hire cleaning ladies. He only gets freelancers to clean it once a week. Does he skimp on your salary too? Lumion asked. This set the woman off. Do you want a room or not? Yes, Lumion said. I'd like to know the price though. It depends on the room. The top floors are 3 Vrildor a week, and the bottom ones are 5 Vrildor. If that's too much, you can knock on doors and ask who's willing to share their bed or rent out spaces for a 1 to 1.5 Vrildor a week. Give me a room on the lower 2 floors, Lumion reasoned. It'd be easier to escape, whether jumping from a window or taking the stairs. Pay 15 Vrildor for the whole month and it's yours, the woman said. Why the discount? Lumion asked, feigning the ignorance of a country bumpkin. The woman sneered. Many people have no choice but to move or leave Trier after a week or two. This place is both heaven and hell. Lumion pulled out 15 Vrildor and handed them over. The currency was all in 5 Vrildor notes, featuring the bust of Intas Republic's first president, Lavene? Davin? I don't know. Along with the laboring farmers and herders on the front. Upon receiving the full month's rent, the woman's expression relaxed. She produced 2 brass keys strung together and tossed them over. Room 207 on the 2nd floor. There's a small diner downstairs and a tavern in the basement. You'll find sulfur in the room's table drawer to help chase away those damn bugs. My name's Fells. If you need anything, just come to me. Thank you, Madame Fells, Lumion said as he took the key. As he ascended up the stairs, Roselle was an emperor and then had presidents. Roselle was clearly is clearly doing a whole Caesar thing, right? The whole did you know the word for king and Kaiser comes from Caesar? Yeah, that whole thing. As he ascended, he noticed newspaper and cheap ink paper plastered on the walls, though some had already peeled away, exposing the cracks they were meant to hide. The 2nd floor contained 8 rooms and 2 washrooms. Each room was cramped, with a bed to the right and a table nested between the bed's edge and a wall sat beneath the window. There was no other furniture, but rows of bedbugs crawling across the ceiling. Bro, pay more, don't sleep here, please. Oh, this is so nasty. You've got money. I mean, like, you've got money and you'll figure it out. Come on, don't stay here. Having grown accustomed to Aurora's cleanliness, Lumion set down his suitcase and lamp, opened the drawer and took out some sulfur and lit it with a match. As the pungent smell filled the room, the bedbugs fled. Within seconds, Lumion detected the sulfuric scent from the room next door. Almost simultaneously, some bedbugs returned, seeking refuge. But they was drunk? Oh, jokes. Lovely. I will try to stream as much as I can next week, but obviously it's Christmas and stuff. I try to stream as much because I know there's probably a ton of people, probably majority of you guys that don't celebrate Christmas, or to a minimal extent anyway. So I'll try to stream as much as I can, but the 24th and 25th I'll probably be off, but I'll try to stream as best I can. Yeah, of course, Bullseye. None of us are particularly religious or anything, so we don't go to church or whatever, but like, you know, we do the stuff. Within wait, hold on. He quickly understood the situation. He had smoked the bedbugs to the next room, and the tenant used sulfur to chase them back. Amused, Lumion sat down, opened his suitcase, and took out a pen and paper. He then wrote, Honorable Madame Magician, I've arrived in Trier as agreed. Please advise on next steps, which organization to join, and how to contact them. What? Okay. Can I just do the author notes on my own time? Would that be okay? Okay. Or is that fucking 20 pages? Are you nuts? Well, no, if it's single space. Like. Are the 2 psychologists available soon? When can I receive treatment? Do you have any news? Do you have any leads on Guillaume Benet and Madame Polly? After penning the letter, Lumion retrieved an orange candle from his sister's room. Lighting it with his spirituality, the scent of citrus and lavender enveloped the area. He closed his eyes instinctively. After standing for 2 minutes, Lumion used the ritual silver dagger to sanctify the candle and create a wall of spirituality, then dripped essential oil on the flame. With the preparations complete, he placed the magician card on the altar and summoned. I summon in my name the spirit that wanders about the unfounded, the upper world creature that is friendly to humans, a messenger belonging solely to the magician. As the wind howled, the flame turned deep blue, casting a sinister cold atmosphere. Lumion focused on the candle, awaiting Miss Magician's messenger. After a few seconds, the letters on the altar floated into the air. Surprised, Lumion glanced up to find a doll the size of a man's forearm perched atop the window. Are you Madame Magician's messenger? Lumion asked. With long blonde hair, light blue eyes, pale white skin, and an exquisite pale gold dress, the doll looked strikingly realistic yet bizarre features. Does that not just remind anyone of Sharon? Except the dress color? Are you Miss Magician's messenger? Lumion asked. The doll slowly lowered its head. Choose a cleaner environment next time, the doll said in an ethereal, angry voice. With that, the doll vanished with the letter. Lumion was stunned. Didn't Roar say just the altar needs to be tied? As he glanced around, he noticed numerous bedbug corpses on the ground. The room was now insect-free. This is better than sulfur, Lumion thought. Lumion habitually cleaned the room before squatting down on the bed squatting down beside his suitcase to retrieve his toiletries. Aurora's dark-colored witchcraft notebook lay undisturbed at the bottom. She comes in, she kills all the bedbugs. She's like, I fucking hate this guy, but god damn it, fine. During his journey to Trier, Lumion had skimmed through them without finding anything suspicious. Aurora wasn't one for recording her personal thoughts or daily minutiae. Her witchcraft notebook was purely dedicated to mysticism knowledge, filled with incantations, symbols, and principles for selecting ingredients. Likely due to Aurora's penchant for keeping detailed accounts, most spells included information about when and where they were obtained, their cost, and the items exchanged. Lumion realized the curly-haired baboon society likely had numerous interest groups. Aurora frequently attended academic gatherings where spells were traded among members. She also participated in exchanges with other groups, occasionally acquiring mystical knowledge and spells from events like April Fool's Day. Finding nothing amiss in the notebooks, Lumion resolved to continue his investigation after consulting the psychologist and locating the Padre and Madame Polly. He knew his sister wouldn't have mentioned the notebook without any reason at a critical moment. There must have been something important she wished to convey. After looking at the notebook, Lumion determined to study his sister's recorded knowledge in reverse order. Starting that night, although using spells in combat was nearly impossible for a hunter, understanding them could help him identify any issues with the corresponding mystical knowledge and abnormalities. With his belongings packed, Lumion's stomach growled in hunger. He stood up and glanced at the window, the dimming light of dusk allowing him to vaguely see his reflection in the glass. His hair, now dyed blonde and grown out, barely disguised his features. Lumion didn't have blonde hair, right? He dyed them blonde? He had black hair, right? Dressed in a white shirt, black vest, and dark suit, his cold, indifferent expression made him appear years older. Even Guillaume Benet would find him only vaguely familiar. Lumion patted his face, coaxing a smile, before opening the door and walking out. Sag. This is our Sherlock Moriarty. Wait, actually, what the fuck was the name he gave? I don't even remember it. He has a name, I don't know, I forgot. I'm paying so much attention, guys. CL, yes, I'm paying so much attention, guys. This is great. In the dimly lit cellar of the inn, a cozy bar had just enough space for 20 to 30 patrons. And no, I'm gonna remember it. CL, like the protagonist of Black Butler. The moment Lumion stepped in, he saw a man leap onto its small table, beer in hand, and address the customers. Ladies and gentlemen, please lend me your ears. I experienced something unbelievable 2 days ago. By a scant light from the steam lamps on the wall, Lumion discerned the man was quite young, maybe 22 or 23. He had short, light brown hair and a clean-shaven face. Wearing a flaxen-colored shirt, black trousers, and leather slip-ons, the man stood just above 1.7 meters tall. But his unusually short limbs made him appear closer to 1.6 meters. How incredible am I, the man said. I'll tell you, it's changed. How incredible was it? I'll tell you, it changed my entire perspective on faith. As a believer of the god of steam and machinery, I am now ready to convert to the eternal blazing sun. Listen up, isn't that astonishing? No, not really. Can you imagine how famished I was after 5 days? I'd lost my job and been fired by that good-for-nothing fucking manager. I couldn't find work and I'd exhausted all my savings. In that moment, I couldn't bear the thought of dying like this. I came to Trier to make my fortune, and I must do something. It is when I saw the portrait of Saint Biev on the wall. Yes, with great effort, I managed to get up, kneel before her, and pray for her help. I was still a believer of the god of steam and machinery. But what good could what wouldn't a starving man do? Besides, it couldn't hurt. 5 minutes after I finished praying, an old friend dropped by and saw my dire state. He didn't have much himself, but reminded me that I'd rented a kerosene lamp for use at night. The deposit was 35 kopay. Gosh, I'd completely forgotten, but with my friend's help, I returned the lamp and used the refund to buy bread and half a liter of cheap booze. Listen, I don't want to be unsympathetic. Like, I get, you probably had a hard time. But brother, if you don't have money, stop wasting it on drinking. Oh my god, buy more bread, you fucking... He's like, I bought bread and then half a liter of booze. Why don't you just buy double the amount of bread, you fucking idiot? The bread was cold and damp, like it'd been doused in putty, and the alcohol was a bit off and weak, but it was the most delicious meal I've ever had. Ladies and gentlemen, I was reborn. I found a new job today, and tomorrow, during my break, I'll light a candle at the nearest St. Viev Cathedral. No, Chris, I'm not, bro, I would never say don't drink, okay? This shit's amazing. I mean, like, brother, if we can't afford food, I'm sorry. There's something that comes before. What are we doing? Dollars. He's dumb as no wonder this motherfucker got fired. The boss was like, man, you gotta stop drinking. And he's like, why? Because you're at fucking work, you idiot. God. Saint Viev was a female angel mentioned in the EBS Church's Bible. She was one of the city's guardian angels in Trier. The other two were prominent figures for the god of steam and machinery and the annals of Intes. Lumion observed the young man's blue eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. The bartender, who was polishing his glass, glanced at the orator and chuckled. Charlie could never shut up, always talking. In his mid-30s, the bartender spotted a thin, dark brown beard circling his mouth, and his hair of the same color was tied back in a casual ponytail. Lumion sat down and asked, is he telling the truth? Who knows? The bartender shrugged. He must have heard the proverb, it is better to trust a snake than a Remian. Charlie is from Reem. True, those Remians never telling the truth. Burn them at the stake, I say. Jesus Christ, wow. Reem and Riston provinces both hailed from the south. Their accents similar, but they were mountainous provinces akin to Lemberg, more akin to Lemberg. Lumion mused aloud. I don't think that's the whole proverb. I feel like there's more to it. You're right. The proverb is longer than you'd think. Trust a Loanese over a Remian. Trust a snake over a Remian, but never trust the islanders. The islands refer to the Fog Sea Archipelago west of Intes, one of the Republic's overseas colonies. The islanders often played the roles of thugs and con artists in Trier. Without waiting for Lumion to inquire, the bartender cast a glance at Charlie and continued on. If he really experienced that, he certainly doesn't know the portrait of Saint Viev isn't in the room. Then whose is it? Lumion asked. The bartender struggled to suppress his laughter. Charlie lives in room 504. The previous tenant frequented the... I'm not. That's a huge fucking French name. I'm not reading that. You're out of your fucking mind. The image in the room was one of Trier's most famous prostitutes a few years back, Suzanne Matee. Just think, Charlie believes that he's praying to an angel, but he's praying to a prostitute. He even feels lucky to have escaped hunger and landed a new job. That is, okay, that's actually fucking hilarious. Indeed, Lumion concurred. This was a scene beyond his wildest imagination. Reality was sometimes stranger than fiction. As long as it works, he said. What can I get you? The bartender asked. A glass of fennel absinthe. What kind of food do you have here? How about Duvar broth? 3 licks for a ladle. 3 licks equaled 15 kopay, or 0.5 Vril d'or. What's Duvar broth? Lumion asked. A restaurant owner, Duvar, invented it. You simmer meat, sauerkraut, and turnips together to create a hearty broth. Finally, he added cheese and breadcrumbs. Just 1 serving can fill your stomach, and it tastes pretty decent. As a result, Duvar is now wealthy and has relocated. Lumion was currently in La Marche des Quartiers des Gentlemen, also known as the Market District, situated on the south bank of the Serenzo River, home to numerous slums. Quartier de la Maison d'Opera was on the north bank of the Serenzo River, near Avenue Boulevard. When are you making it, Wiz? Making what? What, Duvar broth? One of the Republic's core areas. Sounds good, Lumion said. I'll have one. Now he could restore his physical state by 6 and not worry about hunger. Eating was one of the few things that made him feel alive. Oh, this guy's basically fucking immortal. That's kind of nutsy, though. Oh my god, I see it. I see it. He's gonna pull a solo leveling. You guys are gonna hate it that I called it that, but that's what's gonna happen. He's gonna be fighting someone in like the wee hours of the morning or whatever. And like he's losing, and the guy's, and he's about to like, and he's on the verge of dying or whatever. And the villain is like, "Oh, I fucking got you, you bastard. It was a hard fought battle and you really hurt me, but I got your ass." And at that moment, he pulls out a fucking Escanor and says, "You thought I died? Who decided that? I think it's fucking noon." Well, 6 a.m. in this case. And he just fucking reses from fucking the verge of death. He's like, "Damn, I'm not even touched, brother. Let's do this." Oh my god, I see it. I see it. You just gotta make sure to fight people at like 550. And then he gets an insta redo. No, Beacon, I'm referring more to the fact that he has a daily, he has like a heal, after he completes his daily quest, he gets like, health regen or whatever to his like pinnacle state. So like he could be on the verge of dying, and the villain will be like, "Damn, oh, like I have you now," and he goes, "Oh, I forgot to accept my daily reward for today," and then fucking max heal. You're like, cringe. Unfazed, the bartender explained. Wait, what? Hold on. The bartender nodded and said, "Little mummy or somersault?" What? That's common slang in Trier bars, cafes, and beer houses. Little mummy means a small shot of fennel absinthe. Somersault is a double shot. Red tomato has pomegranate juice added with mint. It's called a parrot. There are plenty more like that, my friend. Little mummy it is, Lumion said. 7 licks, the bartender announced. This was pricier than the absinthe in Cordoue, but it was typical in places subject to city tax. Oh yeah, reset. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Soon a glass of pale green absinthe, glowing hypnotically. I swear I read that as glowing hypothetically, and I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? He picked it up and sipped it. The faint, lingering bitterness of the refreshing taste spread and burrowed into his brain. As Lumion waited for the broth, he noticed glass jars, hoses, valves, gear, and other items placed on the bar counter. "What's this?" he asked. "Left by a previous tenant," the bartender said. "He's a believer of the god of steam and machinery. He always thinks he has a knack for mechanics and has accumulated a lot of items." "Where's he now?" Lumion asked. "He went to the factory, and word is he got distracted while working and pulled into the machine. Half of him was crushed." Lumion didn't pry further, and he turned to examine the half-assembled parts. A few seconds later, he left the bar stool and squatted beside the counter, tinkering. The bartender glanced at him but didn't interfere. He only notified Lumion when his broth arrived. After busying himself for a while, Lumion returned to the bar stool and tasted the broth. The rich aroma of meat, cheese, and sauerkraut and the sweetness of the turnip melded to create an unforgettable flavor. The breadcrumbs soaked in juice were the crowning gem of the dish. Lumion didn't expect that a soup costing 3 licks would include several pieces of meat. It could genuinely fill an adult stomach. Chris, I haven't read in like 3 days, okay? Give me a minute. Give me a damn minute. I'll get back up to speed. God damn, brother. Once the plate was empty, Lumion pulled out a handkerchief and wiped his mouth. He squatted back down next to the half-assembled parts and resumed work. 10 minutes later, he placed a machine on the bar counter. Above the machine was a glass jar, and beneath it were intricate components connected to 2 rubber hoses. Lumion then asked for a glass of clear water and poured in the remaining fennel absinthe, tinting the colorless liquid a pale green. He then inserted one of the rubber hoses into the cup. The bartender asked, "What's this?" "My invention," Lumion declared. "I am also a believer of the god of steam and machinery, with a few impressive achievements in the mechanical field." This is a groundbreaking machine and has effects beyond your wildest dream. What can it do? Charlie, suspected of having prayed to a prostitute, asked. It is called the Idiot Instrument. It tests the intelligence of a person. Really? Charlie and the bartender asked. It's really easy, Lumion said. Blow into the tube until the liquid in the cup rises to the glass jar and forms bubbles. By observing these bubbles, we can determine the corresponding stupidity or intelligence index. Fascinating, Charlie said. Just as I expect from a believer of the god of steam and machinery. He picked up the hose and blew into it. The light green liquid in the cup flowed through the interconnected gears, valves, and other components, rising into the glass jar and forming bubbles. What does it say? Charlie asked. Lumen smiled. My friend, the principles of this machine are quite simple. When you believe me enough to actually produce a bubble with it, that is when you prove that you are a dumb fucking idiot. Charlie's expression froze, burning with anger, and the bartender beside him started laughing. Excellent prank, he said. What a fucking idiot. Lumion grinned at Charlie, waiting for an explosion. After a few seconds, Charlie swallowed his anger and turned to the patrons. Ladies and gentlemen, behold what I have discovered, a groundbreaking machine. It can test your intelligence index. He's like, listen, I'm not the fool if I'm not the last fool, okay? If someone else does it after me, then it's all jokes on them, not me, okay? I was just trying to entice other people to do it. All part of the plan. Uh, 113 tenants. I figured out what it was gonna be quite early, but all the same it was funny. Fucking idiot. You're such an interesting person. A drunk Charlie slung his arm around Lumion as they stumbled out of the bar. Nearly 20 people sang, gambled, and yelled. At moments like this, they didn't seem like paupers on meager wages, but kings and queens. I thought you'd play Billy B with them, Lumion asked. Billy B was a popular gambling game in Trier, one Lumion had just learned. Unlike Trieren's favorite fighting evil, Billy B only required a piece of paper. Depending on the number of players, the dealer drew a grid of squares ranging from 9 to 64. Each square assigned a number, allowing participants to place bets. The dealer then determined a lucky number by drawing lots, tossing coins, or throwing dice. The winner took the pot. If no one won, the money went to the dealer. Chris, I think it went okay. I'm not gonna lie, it was hard, dude. Like, the test was actually fucking, actually difficult. I should be fine. I mean, we'll find out in a couple of days. It's all good. Worst case scenario, if I failed, I have fucking 3. I have 3 tries. Who gives a fuck? Listen, boys, I will tell you something, okay? In life, don't. Again, I hope I pass. I want to be really clear. I fucking want to do it again. But like, in life, if you fail, it's okay. Don't ever let it feel like, holy fuck, it's the end. Like, if I fail this, like, it's the end of the world. I promise, nothing is the end of the world. Nothing. Literally nothing. So, don't sweat it, okay? Again, I should be fine. I think it was, but let's... The patrons of the underground bar were either locals or impoverished folk nearby. Their wallets were thin, so they mainly wagered alcohol instead of cash. For instance, a game of Billy B might only award the winner a glass of booze bought by everyone's pooled money. Charlie released a long burp. I haven't got my salary for this week. Can't be too indulgent, you know? He then turned to Lumion. Did you know? I am now an apprentice of the Hotel de Sige Blanc? The one on Rue Neuve in Quartier de Terme. What does that mean? It means I get to wear a white shirt, red vest, and black suit. I'll tie an elegant bow tie and earn 65 world d'or a month. When I become a full attendant, I can make 7 world d'or a day just in tips. When I strike it rich, I'll open my own motel. No, fuck it, a hotel. I'll hire you as an attendant foreman. That jerk just walks around in his tailcoat nitpicking and earns 150 world d'or a month. The apprentice attendants earned slightly more than manual laborers. Lumion reeked of alcohol, but his eyes remained clear, nodding. He recalled reading a newspaper earlier in his studies boasting that Trier laborers earned about 700 world d'or annually. At the time, Lumion didn't have a clear concept of the figure. He didn't know if it was a lot or too little. As a vagrant, he'd only worried about how much food he could get each day and whether kind people may offer him a few licks. The income of the Cordoue villagers was mainly in goods, so he specifically understood specific prices and the value of banknotes but lacked a broader understanding. Of course, this was also because Aurore's income was very high, so they hardly fretted about finances. As far as Lumion knew, Aurore's fame brought her significant income through book sales and contracts. Last year's royalties had neared 130,000? Bro, why was she even a Beyonder? Fuck that, just write books. See, this is what I mean, like, any of you could go into, like, Lord of the Mysteries, and as long as you're okay to not be a Beyonder and not be, like, high profile, you could just make fucking money, bro. Now, I want to be really clear. Being that rich, but, like, in that, I'm going to say olden timey-ish thing. Obviously, I know it's in the future objectively, but, like, in terms of tech and stuff, they're obviously way, way behind. Not worth it. But, like, damn, she richy rich. However, Aurore spent about as much as she earned. A woman after my own heart. Spells, materials, and arcane knowledge accounted for most of her expenses. She might also be supporting struggling members of the curly-haired baboon society or donating to government or church charities. Yet what puzzled Lumion the most was the absence of a deposit slip at home. He knew all too well that Aurore was a saver. Spending big was only possible when she had stashed away plenty of cash at the Sachet Bank or other institutions. For a moment, Lumion suspected that Guillaume Benet's crew had snatched her while he and his sister were being used as sacrifices. Lumion and Charlie made their way to the second floor, slung around each other's arms slung around each other's shoulders. A cry pierced the air. "You bastard!" A bang, a door slammed. A figure in a crisp black tailcoat approached the stairs. A young man nearly Charlie's age, his brownish hair was tied in a 70-30 part, and his dark brown eyes were devoid of expression. Quite handsome, he held a black top hat in his hand. Following the man's cries was a woman's voice, heavy with pain and despair. As Charlie watched the man vanish down the stairs, his face contorted. What a bastard! Is that his fucking, attendant or whatever the fuck? Like, the boss? Because I thought he was described as having, like, the same fucking tailcoat or whatever, no? You know him, Lumion asked? Charlie scoffed. That's Laurent, Mrs. Lazakin's son from room 201. Mrs. Lazakin slaves away, mending socks and crafting all sorts for 16 hours a day just to support that bastard. He always dresses nicely and spends her money at fancy cafes, claiming he's mingling with high society to find opportunities. You think he's so talented? Before Charlie could finish, another heated argument erupted between a man and a woman, hurling insults at each other. Third floor's a couple who eloped, Charlie said. They're like this every day, when they're almost broke. My friend, you'll get used to it. This is the Market District. Rue Anarchy, the Auberge de Coq d'Or. We've got the seriously ill, the bankrupt, the swindling peddlers, and the foreigners who never leave the inn and drink downstairs. Broke street girls, lunatics who wake up in a frenzy, jobless stonemasons, veterans, miserable old men, wanted criminals. That's you. He didn't say that part. They should all thank Monsieur Ive for being so lenient. As long as they don't default on rent, he's pretty forgiving. Monsieur Ive? The innkeeper? The miser Madame Fells mentioned? That's him, Charlie smiled. He's kind, but a stingy fellow. He provides everyone with free sulfur. But I haven't seen him in a couple of days. I'm really worried he'll try to save a few kopay by visiting some random woman on Rue Anarchy and end up catching some nasty disease and dying. Well, Seal, I'm off to bed, okay? I gotta leave at 6 in the morning and get to the hotel by 7. If you can't find a job, you let me know, okay? I'll introduce you to a handy bed at the hotel. You can earn 50 Vrildor a month. Stick around, you might make 75. Plus, free food and a liter of wine a night. Alright. Lubin smiled as he watched Charlie climb the stairs. At the same time, he muttered to himself, simple provocation isn't doing much for the potion's digestion. He had assembled the idiot instrument in the bar to rile everyone up. The result was successful, but didn't further the potion's digestion. Clever. During his journey to Darius to Trier, Lumion provoked others frequently. Sometimes he had felt the potion digest, but most times, nothing. If he couldn't find a better way to act, he figured it would take at least a year to digest the potion. Heading back to his room, Lumion heard a bout of coughing from upstairs. He heard a woman berating her lover, calling him lazy and trash. Gunshots rang out. This was the life at the Auberge de Coq d'Or. Charlie had said that even the police wouldn't dare walk here alone at night. They needed a partner. Taking out his key, Lumion opened the door and stepped into his room. The bedbug seemed to have sensed something and stayed away. Lumion sniffed the sulfur and glanced up. Miss Magician's reply. As he picked up a piece of folded paper, he asked. He then read, I'm glad you have arrived in Trier without issue. This shows you've mastered the basic technique of evading capture and regained your experience navigating the dark underbelly of society. At 3:30 this Sunday, a psychologist will treat you at Booth D at Mason Cafe, located in Quartier des Jardins Botaniques. For the next few days, your mission is to venture near the catacombs in Quartier de l'Observation and... Nah, that is not it at all. Quartier de l'Observatoire, and locate a man called Ostatrul. He often masquerades as a warlock to con tourists and locals alike. By any means unnecessary, earn Ostatrul's trust and reveal your powers when the time is right. Quartier des Jardins Botaniques and Quartier de l'Observatoire were west of La Marche des Quartiers des Gentlemen. This is so fucking cancerous. I just read an entire fucking sentence of French. Am I in fucking 7th grade again? Cringe. Adjacent to one another. The former lay south, while the latter lay closer to the north. Lumion read the letter over and over, committing the relevant locations, times, and names to memory. He then lit the piece of paper on fire. Having done this, he headed to the nearest washroom to freshen up. After that, he took out a fallen Mercury, wrapped in black cloth, removed his coat and lay on the bed. The bedbug infesting ceiling met his gaze, and the faint sounds of coughing, crying, and arguing filled the room. Soon after, the couple announced their reconciliation through a passionate and vigorous exercise. Outside on the street, a few coarse voices sang vulgar songs. punctuated by gunshots, followed by curses, clashing of poles, and the sharp sounds of weapons piercing the flesh. Compared to Cordu, the nights were far from quiet here. This is what I have to imagine living in Gotham is like. Just like if you're an NPC in Gotham, I just have to imagine this is your life. Like you just wake up, gunshots everywhere, and you're like, damn, Billy's up to work at 7 a.m. What a guy. La-di-da-di-da. And you get to work, and you're like, sir, what a good fucking day. Our city's getting so much better. Only 4 people tried to stab me today. 1 got my wallet, but it's lucky for him. I have no money anyway, so... Ah. What? I think Gotham might... I love the contrast. I think Gotham might be better. Gotham is worse. Back to back. Immediate. I think the fact that those are the 2 responses probably means like I'm right on the money. Where's the fucking author notes? I might just read that, bro. I don't know. I'm tired. My throat hurts. I don't want to keep talking. Did someone find them by chance? Does someone have them? Oh, you sent them, please? Out they go. Ah, thank you, buddy. I would rather live in Trier than Gotham. Yes, but would you rather live... Wait. Wait. Sorry, just a question. So you sent 2 files, Plague. Holy fuck, this is like 15 pages. This is crack. And besides, would you rather live in this part of Trier? Not just Trier as a whole. I mean like this part. Or it seems like it's fucking dog shit. Nope, thanks, Plague. Oh, I see. Thanks, Plague. Okay. No, it's fine. I took the first one. It's all good. Okay. I made revisions to 2 places in the scripts when I wrote the last loop. I was thinking of a vague date, so I only wrote in early April in general terms in those 2 places. Now that I've confirmed the specific dates, I find March 29th aesthetically pleasing. Anyway, due to the exact date being end of March, now there's a slight error with the previous early May phrase, so I added late March right before early April to make it late March, early April. If I wanted to, I could find a reasonable explanation to justify the difference, but I don't really care. I've given up on life. Is that what he said? No, but that's what he means. Okay, I can read. I'm soul reading here. Okay, trust. I'm explaining the ritual ceremonial magic in detail because it'll be used extensively in COI. After all, some people may be praying to the gods for their blessings and obtain powers. This is a new system I mentioned before, and later on there will be things related to the spirit world, creatures, and contracts. Chapter 56. First, I want to mention that the book... This month is mainly a stage for expanding the worldview. Also, it happens to be a good time to explain the mystical knowledge that in this novel, COI will use extensively in the future. This will help new readers avoid becoming confused, and old readers can take a chance to review the material. Therefore, even though the pace slowed down because of this, I still aim to finish explaining all the necessary things during the free chapters before the novel goes VIP, blah, 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 blah. This is, wait, friends and readers who have read my novel up to the current chapter should know that the novel introduced a new system of praying for gifts from the gods. New readers can go fuck themselves and read COI. True, Kami. Listen, do I pick up your favorite fucking series and say, oh no, I wanna only read it from book 2, but make done now. I don't read the first one too much. Fuck you, no, watch it. You'd be like some prick picking up season 3 of Game of Thrones and be like, this is dog shit. Who the fuck are these guys? I don't know anymore. Yeah, no shit, motherfucker. Watch the first 2 seasons. Not my fucking problem. Loser. This is similar to the system of charm reception that exists in the may or may not be written LOTM book 3 I mentioned before. This is so cringe, bro. What is this? Praying to the Eastern Tao and Heavenly Court can be done in a special way to avoid some negative effects, forming a unique Eastern process. And on the other hand, praying to living gods and outer deities, there are no shortcuts or tricks that can be used to lessen the price. Unless if there are corresponding powers who are providing support to the person praying. By the way, I want to clarify that the black seal-like mark, the monster had 3, the padre had way more, and the blackthorn symbol that chains around the body are not the same. These will be explained later. Most of the groundwork has been laid and the build-ups have been completed now, and the plot will gradually intensify and starting from here. Once again, I would like to ask for whatever my sincere... Great. It's time for another novel to be released. After midnight passes, in about 5 minutes, I will upload the first privileged chapter of COI. To tell you the truth, this novel wasn't originally entitled COI. No one decided Lumion was going to end up a dancer or walk on the COI path. Oh, dancer is the path under COI. Oh, that makes sense. Back then, the publishing platform asked me for a novel title. I came up with several conventional ones, but they weren't satisfied and vetoed the titles back. Out of frustration, I decided to use the LOTM approach, drawing a tarot card. I picked some nice sounding sequence zeros and great old one sequences that I designed and threw the name list at the publishing company and let them choose. Dude, the motherfucker's actually given up. That's crazy work. No, Kami, that's pretty normal, dude. Publishing companies have a lot of vetoes and stuff. That makes sense. That's fine. The same with same with books and novels, and same with like movies and stuff. That's why certain really big movies will have like director's cuts, because production companies are like will always have vetoes on like, hey, we don't think this works here. We would like the ending to be different, whatever. So that's why if a movie's really big, they'll get the rights to do like a director's cut, so they can make the movie the way they wanted to if there were no ass pulls or whatever. But what I mean is, this is so cringe. Like, okay, he had to go back, so he decided to draw tarot cards. Okay, no problem. But he didn't, so I picked up a few nice sounding ones. Okay, that also seems fine. But then I threw the list at them like, fuck you, I'm not even gonna choose. These are fucking, take any of them. Wow, that's so cringe. I'm not reading the fucking translator's notes. I don't give a fuck, brother. What I didn't tell them was that the sequence name they chose will determine which outer deity's blessing Lumion would obtain. Do you see what I mean? He's actually writing this by the seat of his pants. He's like, Lumion's gonna get powers. Which ones? Even I don't know. It is up to the heavens now. I have left it up to chance. What? What? Like, if this motherfucker wanted to be like, no, like, hey, listen, like, I get, like, the last ones, here's, like, 2 or 3 that I think would work, please let me know if one of these works, if one of these, which powers I give the main character, so, like, it'll have a profound impact on that novel, so if you could just let me know, so that way I can try, seeing how that fits. No, fucking, just pick whichever, okay, I'll write it in, it's fine. What? No, lag, sorry boys. Should be fine now, I think. Should be fine now. Sorry. Like, this is so cringe. Should be fine now. That was so bad. He's literally just given up. It will also affect certain plot arrangements and entry points in the novel. This is crazy work. Then they picked COI, and when I saw it, I thought, hey, this goes well with the Hunter pathway, and it seems like it might help resolve a key plot point later. In that moment, the whole storyline became clear, and the COI pathway seemed to align better with the story than the other outer deity pathways that I was personally favoring. Perhaps an arrangement of fate. So LOTM was born under the arrangement of fate. As the second installment of the mystery series, COI has unique challenges. First, the worldview has already been deciphered already, so I can no longer adopt a slow exploration and gradual unfolding of LOTM. It must have its own elements and new attraction points. Else to drink. So crazy. All out. Second, under the backdrops of many popular characters from LOTM, and both the protagonist and other characters will face a lot of pressure. With the previous work being so well received, they will always be compared, and from the very beginning, I don't want Lumion to be the same as Lil Klein, not to be equally gentle as Klein. He should have his own experience, both good and bad sides to his character. But I chose the Hunter and the starting point of being contaminated by an outer deity. Until now, the first step of Book 2, Volume 1, Nightmare, which has expanded the worldview, can be considered generally done, revealing some things related to outer deities as I mentioned before. Writing the second installment of the mystery series is not just rehashing old stories. In fact, there are many countries that have not been described, and many new things that haven't been revealed. When I was enriching the settings for the outer deities pathways, many aspects made me excited and intrigued. You know what, give me a second, I gotta go get some water or something. Oh, this'll... Am I having Red Bull at 10 p.m? Yeah, shut up, who's asking? There will be many new characters who will interact with a large number of old characters from LOTM, and together they will complete one new story after another. I cannot pound my chest and guarantee that I will write this novel exceptionally well, but I can assure you that I will invest all my efforts and passion into this work, because for me, this is also a brand new challenge. Writing the same thing all the time would make me bored and fatigued. I remember saying before that I hope my writing career will always remember a sentence: never satisfied, always challenging. I am now ready to embrace this challenge. In the early hours of today, COI will go on shelf in Kidian or whatever. End of the volume. The following summary contains spoilers, so if you have not finished COI Volume 1, not recommended to read this, whatever. You've all read this. I've read this. Different books will have different structures and meanings. When I first thought about the plot of COI, I had already had the idea of Volume 1 should be an introduction and prologue. It should take a first step in showing what the world is like now, several years after LOTM, what major changes have occurred compared to LOTM, and the rough establishing of the protagonist, Lumion. What Volume 1 needs to accomplish is to lay down some clues of sufficient importance. The rest can be slowly refined in future volumes. Having the general idea, the question is how to implement it. I started looking for inspiration, and a reader recommended What Remains of Edith Finch in the comments of my WeChat account. I played for less than half an hour and couldn't bear the severe symptoms of vertigo caused by the 3D effects, so I gave up. But afterwards I went to Bilibili to watch the related videos and read articles on the game, and completed the game in a way. Then I thought, this way of telling a story through symbols and metaphors is very interesting. It has a particular psychedelic and detached feeling that matches what I want to capture. So I decided to YOLO something different for COI. Humans. They always have the impulse to take risks, even if it's life-threatening. But life is short, and repeating is boring. True, my gambling king. And I have played with symbols and metaphors in Thrones of Magical Arcana, and the dream sequence of Zhao Lu and its interpretation used to symbolize the character's personality, tendencies, and thoughts. So I think this time I can use dreams as a device, but it cannot be linked to just a few dozen chapters. It cannot be shallow. It cannot be limited. We need to deconstruct the story that has already happened, reality, abstract into elements with various symbols and metaphors, and reassemble and stitch together with Aurora's novel scenes that Lumion has read and daydreams about. And present it as a complete, viable story in front of the reader. Well, this is so interesting. Though I'm telling the story of a dream, it is reality in another way. From the perspective of the creator, it is entertaining. However, as an online web novel, I must ensure readability and worthwhileness. The former means that the author cannot get so high on crack and play around so much the reader becomes confused. This requires the more reorganized story, dream, to be told in simple, easy to understand ways. Moreover, some simple and abnormalities should be presented in simple and more straightforward manner. So when the plot is reversed, the readers will have a feeling of, oh, that's how it is, instead of what the fuck is happening. The latter means that I cannot write 100 chapters and tell everyone it was just a dream. That will inevitably make people think, what's the point of this then? Therefore, the volume cannot simply be a symbolic and metaphoric retelling of what has happened. It must capture a more important role in the story. That's actually a really good point. This is like a realization I had when I was like 14 or something. I don't know, I was like, I realized that, like, you know how in a TV show or whatever, you'll think of like a sitcom or whatever, right? Like, your main character has like a weird fucked up dream, like the weirdest thing, like, you know, like they're like hooking up with like a best friend or whatever, like, you know, they're best friends with like a girl or whatever, and then it's a dream, and this episode starts like, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they wake up and you're like, oh, it was a dream. Well, that was weird. But then, like, at 14, I was like, wait, the actors actually had to do that. It doesn't just not happen because it's a dream in the thing. Like, that's so fucking weird. So it's like just that realization of like, hey, I still like have to put all this together and make it make sense as the writer. So that's cool. Therefore, the chapters where their dream is shattered, 107, I used reverse chronology to tell everyone that through a future investigation report that this volume has not only deconstructed the protagonist's inner world and given him the inner driving force for future actions, but it has also revealed that many of the volume's plot points has symbolic significance and metaphors still currently unknown. Speaking, does that happen? I haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle, so I don't know. When looking at it from this perspective, this volume called Nightmare is indeed an introduction. It's Breaking Bad, dumbass. What? It was a joke ending the film for Breaking Bad. Oh, never mind. I've seen like a reel of this. Oh, you're right. Oh, I have seen this. Never mind. Okay, I know what you're talking about. And the holes I dug and left behind will be filled in later. The most important mystery may not be revealed until the third to last or even second to last volume. Now let me discuss my ideas and actions. After what I figured out in the first volume, I didn't want to write for a long time because of laziness. That's crazy. Because I hadn't finished writing the material, and because it was a long while away from release. It wasn't until the funny incident I mentioned in my pre-book release announcement that things began to move along. I mentioned that I gave some book titles to the publishers and let them choose, which would determine the direction of the novel to an extent. They chose COI, and when I thought, COI, and realized that I could add the elements of loop to the first volume. He thought of the loop on a fucking whim? The before and after comparison of certain events can also have symbolic gestures. At this moment, the idea was completely settled, but what I initially wrote was not what everyone sees now, but rather I wrote down the story that actually happened, Loop Zero, aka reality, including all the details, naming it the real storyline. Unknown, how's it going, man? On some points, Cuttlefish fucking cracked, on others he's an idiot. Like, I mean, dude, he just came up with that on... That's crazy work. He just came up with that on the spot. That's nuts. During this process, sometimes the real storyline is first symbolized or metaphorized before being placed in the visible storyline. Aurora's novel actions and Lumien's own daydreams and fantasies are then used to eliminate any inconsistencies. Other times, the visible storyline is created, followed by the consideration of which section in the real storyline will be placed into it. Once these steps are completed, the next step is to write down some key reminders. Pushkar, how's it going, man? You're literally coming up right as we're ending. That's hilarious. I mean, I still have a bit of the thing to go. And it's exhausting. That's fucking crazy, dude. During this process, sometimes called the real storyline is first symbolized and metaphorized, and before being placed into the visible storyline. Aurora's novel scenes and Lumien's daydreams and fantasies are used to eliminate inconsistencies. Other times, the visible storyline is created first, followed by the consideration of which section of the real storyline will be placed into it and how to metaphorize it. Oh, fuck. So you're telling me you put one side of the spaghetti in your mouth, take the other side, also put it in your mouth? What the fuck is going on here? What? This refers to the specific writing. Once these steps are completed, the next is to write down reminders. Referring to key specific writing methods for certain characters and stories. For example, my notation of the three investigators are they must be described in my normal writing style, while my notation for Aurora is has to write her as if I'm writing Lumien's embellished fantasies, an idealized version of her. As if I'm writing Lumien's idea of Aurora, created by looped manifestations of his deepest memories of her. Aww, Sag. For example, I note down that each subsequent loop I must write down the villagers and Aurora to make them become increasingly human and capable of rational thinking and actions. Aurora and the other villagers' soul piece in Lumien becoming increasingly active, and so on. Later on, I submitted the idea for review and I removed all the explanation and such that spoils the real storyline for the editors. I did not want anyone to know the answers and the true story before it was finished, not even the editors. That's crazy work. However, many readers often ask how I can follow such a detailed outline means that the subsequent writing process is a matter of following a plan. The answer is no. Inspiration can strike at any time, and sometimes the discovery of a better treatment for a certain plot won't reveal itself until you write the novel up to a certain point. For example, when writing about Naroka going to Paramita on the carriage, when Aurora and Lumien face the undead, I used a relatively simple metaphor using Warlock ability to push Lumien away to represent a key scene from the real storyline. Aurora pushing Lumien away during the original ritual. At the same time, I considered how to fill in the remaining contents and details. If you read chapter 109, it is apparent that in the real storyline, Aurora only said the words "my notebook" to Lumien. So in Lumien's dream, he needed to use his own imagination for additional dialogue and story developments, so he drew inspiration from Aurora's romance novel. Aww. After much deliberation, I ultimately decided to use a more cliché and anime way to improve this scene, which would better reflect and hint that it was all a dream to begin with, and that some elements were drawn from cringy romance novels. But I also know that this kind of cliché will make many readers uncomfortable. After all, it is really different from the overall style used up to this point. So I revised it over and over. Constrained by time, I couldn't think of a better way to handle it, but during that time, I felt this could be used as a way to end the volume, a double down. By doing so, for one, it can further demonstrate the essence of the dream, heavily influenced by all the novels that Lumion can read. Secondly, when it echoed... Hold on, I need to run to the... Give me 1 second. Fuck. Red Bull's actually a fucking piss magnet. I actually hate this shit. I'm not. Yo. Alright, we're back. Oh yeah, I'm curious. Did anyone think it was a dream? I don't think so. I feel like it was written so well, but... Not as a love interest, Plague. As someone he loved and she loved him too. All this to demonstrate that the only way to obtain the ending to the first volume, Nightmare, when my writing reached Paramita part, simply creating an outline did not give me the idea for the ending. Originally, there were 2 envisioned endings, but I ended up abandoning one of them. The first one is, after Lumion escaped, he slept in the grazing area of another mountain and dreamed of Cordu village, of Aurora, of his friends, and in the dream, Cordu was so peaceful and harmonious. This idea came from the title Nightmare. The second one, the scene cuts directly to a bar in Trier. Lumion once again started telling that story. I'm a nobody, with no time to notice the brightness of the sun, showing a structured beauty of a loop and inevitability. Yes, the first sentence of Lumion's story, which is also the first sentence of the first volume, is a highly refined and condensed expression of the entire story of the first volume, both a summary and introduction. Since the whole first volume is played with symbolism and metaphor, how could the story Lumion made up, which is the beginning of the book, not have a significance? This is also a fair point, actually. Based on Lumion's personality, this story must be mostly false, with the true parts being symbolically presented. Everyone, I used the story Lumion made up at the beginning to tell you what the first volume would be. This is its role, its symbolic significance. That's so clever, because right at the start, we hear Lumion tell a story, And then the bartender was like, hey, you can't trust that fucking guy. He never tells the truth. And then we read the whole volume through his point of view. And then at the end, it's like the bartender, like symbolically going, told you not to trust that motherfucker. He's an idiot. Above the above are all the creative ideas, writing notes, and my own satisfactory parts of the first volume. But there are certainly some flaws. Bro, that's a lot of flaws. Goddamn. Alright. First, the exposition of the ritualistic magic knowledge in the first volume was placed on a plot acceleration stage, which caused some damage to the rhythm. In fact, I should have adjusted the order and introduced this knowledge before the looping story gets intense, or dispersed it back using flashbacks or interjections. Second, between exploring the church underground and before Lumion hunts the flame monster, there was a period of vacuum where the plot was presented with low energy, since the early cues were used up and the abnormal events later hadn't been discovered. When I outlined the story, I didn't foresee this, and when I got there, I needed to slow down the pace a bit, but I couldn't slow down for long. Not to mention, the entire Dream Ruin is mainly about solo haunted exploring areas, which isn't attractive enough to carry the story alone. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I had a bitch of a time with those. Those were so fun. Sorry, I had a bitchin' time with those, rather. Sorry. Regardless, at the time, several storylines were used in the process of being laid down, so some stories had to be told. To make the overall structure more complete, so I controlled my patience and gradually finished telling them. Of course, I trimmed the stories down and accepted the acceleration. And obviously accelerated the pace. Obviously accelerated the pace. I already felt the pace of the result of this decision before receiving feedback from the viewers because I had chapters saved up for release. Therefore, when I had viewers' comments about the same thing that I was worried about, I chuckled at the fact that I had already made adjustments and was ready to face the storm. On the other hand, I am pleased that my writing is still in tune with the readers. Third, a discrepancy in expectations. I expected the first volume of COI to be an introduction and a key to opening up the story. It has its own structures, but the clues and questions left by Volume 1 still have to wait to be solved. But many readers expected a resolution, expecting it to be like the Volume 1 of LOTM, expecting a stronger climax, but there was absolutely no problem with these expectations. The problem lies with me. I don't know how to tell people this dream is a metaphor, foreshadowing meant for later volumes, without giving away to people that this is a dream. Fourth, the character portrayal is sacrificed for the overall conceptualization of Volume 1. It can only be used to gradually outline and fleshed out later. But the parts that I anticipate that will flesh out the characters and may not be the same as what the readers expect, and may be crazier than what they're expecting. Probably. 5. There is a problem with the early sequence advancement. I should have talked about it earlier and how low tier potions and BCs have significantly less negative effects when one drinks them. BCs? BCs? Due to the end of the world approaching. In this way, Lumion's quick advancement at the low sequence would not have felt abnormal and unrealistic. After all, LOTM's been done for a few years. Not every reader will remember all the details of LOTM, like the fact that the will of the original creator is weakening. Oh, beyond her characteristics. Oh, I see. Thank you. When I realized this, Lumion was already on his way to becoming a provoker, so I had to use Aurora to explain this quickly. Together, I will post the character cards for Aurora, Lady Polly, and the Padre and the official investigator trio. After that, as usual, I will take a 3.5-day break, whatever. After much consideration, I have chosen a title for the second volume that has been used before, as it is the most fitting and there is no alternative. Lightseeker. Remember, you are but dust, and to dust you shall return. I don't know, does anyone find that stuff really freeing? I know I'm not new about this because philosophers have talked about this for 1,000 years, 2,000 years. But when I read shit you are but dust and you shall return to dust, or memento mori or whatever, there's a little part of my soul that's freed. You're hey, listen, don't have so many expectations of yourself, fuck, I really need to do this, what about this? And you're fucking man, there's one end result. Chill. I'm not saying don't, like, you know, don't work hard or don't do stuff, but like, also understand, like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, there's a little part of my soul that's like, damn. I used to really hate that when I was younger, but I think the older I get, I kind of like it. This volume will be relatively shorter compared to Faceless in LOTM, consisting around 100 or so chapters again. However, there will be larger volumes in the future, depending on the theme, structure, and purpose. Finally, I'd like to, whatever, thank you. All right, fantastic. All right, boys. We'll end stream there. I kind of dislike that he used Lightseeker again. Oh, I don't really mind that. That's okay. There's only... Plus, Lightseeker is like a really good one too, so I don't really... Is it Lightseeker or Lightbringer? I always keep thinking it's Lightbringer in my mind for some reason. Alright, guys. Have a great rest of your day or night. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, and we'll keep going with COI Volume 2. Bye, boys.